welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we're going to be taking a look at a puzzle called Corridors by Vidorino today, and I think Vidorino has appeared on the channel before. This puzzle has been recommended to us many times over the last week or two, and apparently it's got a huge rating on Logic Masters Germany, so it ought to be a lot of fun. And in terms of difficulty, I don't really know, but it is what we call a chaos construction, which means that you can see we have got no 3x3 boxes in this puzzle. We're going to have to work out what the regions look like, and that will be part of the puzzle itself. So it should be a lot of fun, and I'll read you the rules in just a moment. Before I do that, the thing I want to, I suppose, plug is what we've got going on over on Patreon at the moment. So we have our new Sudoku hunt, which we're calling our Quite Approachable Sudoku hunt. And I can tell you, we have had literally hundreds and hundreds of correct entries so far, many of which, like Rachel Connolly's, say the following. Hello, this was my first time taking part in a puzzle hunt since I joined as a patron, and I loved every second of it, so thank you very much. Well, Rachel, that's exactly what we were hoping to hear. So we hope we've pitched this one correctly. As I say, many of you seem to have got through it. Now, if, on the other hand, you were doing the Star Wars Sudoku hunt, which was last month's Patreon reward, and you got stuck, we are starting to release the videos in terms of how you can solve all of the puzzles in that hunt. So today we've done episodes 4, 5 and 6. I'll have to tell you this. I mean, Mark couldn't remember the name of Return of the Jedi, so I had to remind him. I don't know. Anyway, so episodes 4, 5 and 6 have gone up now, and we'll release them. We're going to release them by trilogies over the coming few days. So you should have all of them revealed, I suppose, all of the secrets revealed within the next week. Now, nothing else to tell you, I don't think. There was something I wanted to tell you, but I've now forgotten what it was. It's gone. It's gone. If it comes back, I'll let you know then. But let's have a look at Corridors, and I'll read you the rules. They are as follows. The digits 1 to 9 must appear once each in every row, column and region. A region is an orthogonally connected set of 9 cells and must be determined. A region cannot contain a 2x2 block of cells. So in building our regions, we're going to have to be a bit careful, because although that region there, that would have 9 cells, I think, in it, this would be broken because that set of cells is a 2x2. So we would have to avoid that somehow, perhaps by doing that. That would seem to be a legitimate region again. Clues outside the grid show the sum of the digits up to the next region border in that row or column. Okay, so let's look at this 8 clue. In fact, let's look at the 11 clue. The 11 clue is saying that the next region border in this row, it could be there, I suppose. Let's switch to the pen tool. It could be here, and these 2 cells would add up to 11 then. Or, I guess it could be here, and these 3 cells would add up to 11. Or it could be here, and these 4 cells would add up to 11. So one of those things must be true. And I suppose the other thing we could take away from an 11 clue is that those 2 cells must be part of the same region. Because if there was a region border here, we would have to put an 11 in this cell, and that clearly is nonsense. So don't do that. Now there's one more rule, which says an arrow indicates a horizontal/vertical corridor of cells of length n within a region, where n is the digit in that cell. So let's see if we can work out what that means. So let's try with this one. Let's imagine we had a region that did that, for example. That would be saying that this cell sees a corridor of cells, so that would have to be a 5. This would also be in that region, but that only sees 1 cell horizontally, so that would have to be a 1. I think that's what this is saying. That's what I'm taking it to say. So if I'm wrong, we're going to get the puzzle wrong probably and not be able to do it. But hopefully we'll figure out what's going on as we get started. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I have a massive penchant for puzzles where I have to build the regions. So I'm hoping that this will be a lot of fun. So we've got an 11 here with a 26 and a 22 here with a 31. So both of those, Yeah, it looks like the corners are where we start this, I think. Because this 11 clue must be at least a 2-cell clue. And the 26 must be at least a 4-cell clue. So that is all... Right, yeah, okay. No, I can... Well, I've seen two things. Firstly, the 14 clue must be at least 2 cells, so that must come out to here. But also, we've got to avoid 2x2s, so that cell and that cell must not be yellow. Now, there's nothing to say, though, I suppose they have to be the same colour. So this cell and this cell might be the same colour, but they could be different regions coming out of that little cul-de-sac. Okay, now can we do something with that? If the 14 was 2 cells, this would be a big digit. 5. It can be. I was just wondering if this cell could be, if the region border was here, then this digit would either have to be a 5 from a 5 and 9. Oh, no, hang on, what am I talking about? No, I'm going crazy. I was about to say, in fact, I've gone completely doolally. I was about to analyse whether this could be a 2-cell region. Of course, it can't be a 2-cell region, because although in theory it's possible, no, it's just so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing the way my brain works. But there's no way that this can be a 2-cell region going this way, because this digit would have to be at least 5. And for many reasons, that is contradictory. The first is that's saying that there are 5 cells in that region going this way. And if there were 5 cells, which there can't be, because we're hypothesizing this is a 2-cell region going to here, and therefore that's why this would have to be a minimum of 5, because this would either have to be a 5-9 or a 6-8, so you can see the minimum value of this would be 5. But obviously once this becomes 5, it's saying those 5 cells add up to 14, and they're all in the same region. So we've already contradicted ourselves by extending the region, and you can't fill 5 cells with different digits that only add up to 14. So in many ways, we have just proved that I am a complete muppet. Never mind, he says. Right, so I am a muppet, and this must extend, is what we've learned. Oh, well, okay, that would be useful if we knew these were different colours, but we don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Let's check whether we can do anything on this side, because this is even bigger digits. So a 31 must be 5 cells, because 6, 7, 8, 9 only add up to 30. 22 must be 3 cells, at least. So we can fill in 7 cells straight away. Now, so that digit there, if that's purple, we could extend the purple. That's 9 now, isn't it? So we could do that, and then this would be a 2-cell sum. But if it's purple and it's only 1 cell, it would be a 5 in this cell, and that would mean that 22. No, it wouldn't mean anything for the 22. Okay, so we don't know whether that... What about the 10 then? If the 10 is part of... Ooh, yeah, okay. If the 10 is part of purple, both of those cells would have to be purple, and this would have to be a 1 now, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because we'd have our quota of 9 digits. So that would be a 1, and that would be a 9. Right, that doesn't work. Okay, here we go. A deduction at last that isn't a Muppet-worthy deduction. So if this cell is purple, we have to do this. This becomes a 1 and this becomes a 9, but now there's no way to fill those 3 digits in, because those 3 digits have to add to 22, and you can't do that unless you use a 9, because 6, 7, and 8 only add up to 21. So we have another... Well, an actual small deduction. This is a different region. Now, could it be yellow? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it would make yellow too big. So this is actually a new colour. We'll make it green. So that is a region, and it's not the same as this region, because if it was the same, we'd have at least 10 cells in yellow. So that digit is a 5. There we go. A digit in the grid because it's seeing 5 cells across here. So now if the 22 finishes, if this finishes and these 3 cells add to 22, they would have to be 6, 7 and 9. And if the 5 clue is now in, both of the cells would be in. And I say that because this cell cannot now just be a purple 5 on its own, because there's a 5 in the region. So if that is in, both of those cells are in, and we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, and that can work. Can we do better than that? I am not sure. Do we know whether this could be a 2-cell region, but I suppose a 10 clue could be a 4-cell region, although that, yeah, it could be a 4-cell region, although we might have trouble with 2x2s as a result of that. Ooh, yeah, we might, no, we could do something like that maybe. We'd have to be very careful, and then the yellow could escape. Right, so what is it now that's under pressure? That's the question we've got to ask ourselves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this can grow by 2 more as a maximum. So this digit here is already a 4 but can't be greater than 6. The 11 could be 2 cells or 3 cells. Ah, right, that cell is not green. Sorry, do I mean that? I think I do mean that. Yeah, this square is not green. Because if this square is green, don't I have the devil's own job of getting these... Well, yeah, let's think about this. If this is green, this square here now cannot be green. So it has to be red. That's forced. We don't yet know whether grey is red or not, but we do know that grey is not yellow. So we've got to get this region out. Well, to get this region out, we're going to have to take this square. And once we do this, we have a contradiction, because this square can no longer be a 2x2 with red, and it can't be a 2x2 with yellow, so it's isolated, and it would have to be its own colour in a 1-cell region, which is not going to work. So what we can say is that that square... Oh, I was about to say is yellow, but it doesn't have to be yellow, does it? It could... Or does it actually? If it's not yellow, then again, it has to definitely be red. And we're still going to run into the same problem, which is how do we get red out? It has to take this square and this square. Yes, we run into exactly the same problem. So what we can say is that that is yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's 8, isn't it? Now, these could both be green. They probably are both green. Oh, hang on. How could that be green? If that's green, these 2 squares, which cannot be yellow, now have to join to green. And, oh no, we could do that. Oh, sorry. We could do that. We could do it like that, for example. Make this yellow, and then we haven't made a 2x2. So, yeah, that's nonsense, what I'm saying there. More nonsense from Simon. I apologise. So we've had some comments recently that definitely seem confused about whether I'm Simon or whether I'm Mark. I really am Mark. No, I'm not Mark. I'm Simon. I really am. That square there can't be purple, so I'll make that light grey. Oh, I can't really see light grey. I'll make it black. I think black is okay, providing I don't put digits on it. People don't like the blue digits on the black background. Oh, hang on. One thing I haven't thought about is I've got huge digits here. 22 and 30. 22 plus 31 is 53, which is a lot more than the secret. Yes, that is interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. Because let's think about the secret. Now, the secret is something I only tell my favourite people, but that you're included in that. And the secret is that the digits 1 to 9, if you add them up once each, you get 45. So, these two cells, which are adding purple digits with only this digit in common, are already giving us a count of 53 for the purple region, which is far too high. So this cell, which is double counted, needs to be enormously large. It needs to be at least 8, doesn't it, to get us down to a sensible number. Now, if it was 8, that would be saying that this clue and this clue deduct the common digit and we would have 45. So there could not be another digit in this purple region outside of this column and this row. But if that's 9, we'd go down to 44, and there could be a 1 somewhere else sticking out. Couldn't be here because we know that's not purple. But that is interesting. Yes, that is interesting, because that tells us, in fact, this is really beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. Good grief. Yeah, I can see exactly what this is doing now. It's telling us that there is a maximum of 1 purple digit not in this column and this row. Well, at the moment, I've only filled in 7 cells in purple, so that must be purple, whatever. Whether this is 8 or 9, this is purple. Now, once this is purple, because it can't now be 5, it must extend, and now purple has become a 9-cell region, and this must be the one that is not seen by the 22 and the 31, and therefore that must be a 9 in order to allow that to exist. This is a 4 to make the 5 clue work. That's really clever. That's really beautiful setting. And now I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the pen tool to outline my region, which I have built. I am proud of my construction, and therefore I will ring it with green. Okay. So what does that mean, though? Has that actually helped us to... Yes, okay. So the secret is going to help us again in row 1, isn't it? Because I know these digits sum to 11. I know those digits sum to 31. That's 42. So this cell is a 3. Now, that cell... Well, if green stops here, this square is a 7 because of the 10 clue, and that would tell us that that row would all have to be green, which would be incredibly potent. What we can do, though, is we can do something with the 22 clue. Those squares add up to 13, these two squares add up to 9, and now must include a 3 by Sudoku, so that's got to be a 3-6 pair, which means these squares have got to be 2, 7 and 8, which means those squares are 1, 4 and 6, which means that square is not a 6, or a 4. Wow. Is that right? Hang on. 1, 4, 6. I think it is right. 1, 4 and 6 appear in yellow in those squares, so that square has to be a 5. Now, once it's a 5, we know it goes to here, and now I've done all my yellow region. It's finished, so that gets ringed with our green line. And that must be a 3 because it's just seeing a corridor of 3. So the other cells we've got to place in this box are 2, 7, 8 and 9, and I'm being a bit pencil marky there, but forgive me. Oh, these two have to add up to 11. So they're forced. That must be a 2, 9 pair. And therefore those are a 7, 8 pair in the column. Now, we might have to go and look in the other corners, but let's just see if we can do anything else that's useful here. So if this, could this be a 4-cell clue? Is that possible? Just what? It's not X sums, is it? So it's not saying the first. I'm getting confused with X sums. It's saying that the first number of cells, however many there are, sum to 10. So if we did have a 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be a 2. These would be a 1, 4 pair. I don't like the look of that. Oh no! In fact, now I know the yellow region. I can't take this. This square cannot be yellow. That's so important. This can't be green, because if it's green, all of these turn green as a result, and that's going to create lots of 2x2s, which won't work. So this square has to be 7 then, and this is seeing all sorts of things along the row. That's really beautiful as well. So this cell, oh look, in fact look, that's an 8 there now, and that's a 7. Now, now I've got to put 8 in green, which is going to have to be in this row somewhere. It could be here, I think. Yeah, in fact, the extra green cell can't be there because that's going to create a 1-cell region. Now the problem is this region could be another region that comes out this way. So that can't be 8. That can't be 8 because that would be saying this cell sees a corridor of 8, and we know that these regions are complete and not in this region's region. I've said region a lot there. Okay, so maybe I don't know where the 8 goes. But what do we know then? We know that we've got... Oh, I've got to make these add up to a number. So let's do that. They've got to add up to 20... Oh, I've broken the puzzle. Oh, no, I haven't. 200. Oh, failure. Oh, that was awful. I couldn't see how to make these 2 digits. Obviously, my brain is not switched on today. These 2 digits have to add up to 6. There is, of course, only one way that will work, and I can now see it. So that becomes a 9. This is adding up to 14, so that's correct. These squares we're going to pencil mark them 5, 7, 8, and 6. So that's not 7. None of those are on the arrows though, so perhaps that's not very sensible. Okay, so let's have a think about what else we can do. This 13 clue must be at least 2 cells, so let's make those 2 cells red. This 10 clue must be at least 2 cells. Now the problem is this could well join up with our 13 clue, so we're going to have to bear this in mind. The 17 clue must be at least 2 cells, so that cell's definitely not blue. Now let's make it purple then, just to make, because this purple obviously, well, it's very unlikely to touch this region. Okay. So I want to know what this is really. So if this was an 8-9 pair, it could be an 8-9 pair with a 9 and an 8 here. How would this get out? I'm not quite seeing how this works. I'm wondering if it's possible that this ends here. That's the question I'm asking myself. No, it's not. Right, okay, here is a sensible deduction. Thank goodness. If we do this and we ring this in, this has to be an 8-9 pair to add up to the right number. But this corner square has to be a 9, and that means this square is a 1, and then this square would not be blue because we've already got 10 in this column. And therefore the blue region would only be of size 3, and that won't work. So we can actually, therefore, extend blue very slightly to this cell, which means this cell is now blue because the 10 clue must be at least 2 digits. This must be at least a 3. This purple has to get out. So purple hits an arrow. Is that useful? So, yeah, okay, well this little cell in and of itself has to be a 2 or a 4 now, because it can't be a 3. It can't see more than 4 cells in its corridor. It could be a 2, but it can't be a 1 because it already sees 2 cells. So that's a 2 or a 4. This could keep extending along the bottom, this 17 clue. 17 could be as many as 5 cells. 21, that must be at least 3 cells. What colour should we make that safely? We make that green, I think. So we're actually going to, unless I miss something over on the right, we're going to have to really work hard over on the left. This is at least 2 cells, so we can do that. Let's make those red. I don't think this red is going to reach here. So this is at least 2 cells. We've got 22 and 13 in the column. That's 35. So we know that so we know red doesn't reach this square, because if it reached this square, that would be implying the whole column added up to 35, and it doesn't. It adds up to 45. So this is some new colour that we don't know. But could that even be a 1? It could be a 1, you know. Rotten thing. It could be a 1 and then just extend this way and then duck and dive over here, but not like that perhaps. Okay, so if this 13 is just 2 cells, it would be a 5-8 pair, look, because it couldn't be 9-4 or 6-7, so it'd have to be 5-8. You couldn't put the 8 there because that would put a 1 here, so it would have to be a 5 here. 5 here. So if that was a 5 there, that would have to be hang on, let me just think about this. Can we prove, maybe we can prove that red is not green. Well, in that line where this is 5, 8, let me just look at this. If that's 5, that's 8. Now either these 2 squares, yeah, either the 9 is a 3-cell sum, in which case this is a 1-3 pair, but that doesn't work because that would be a 1 and end the region, so these couldn't all be red, so that doesn't work. Or this is a 2-cell region and this is a 4. Okay, but is that actually, let me just think about that. No, that doesn't work either. Right, okay. We've got to be careful about 2x2s. So, not only, yes, if the 13 is a 2-cell region, this square here has to be purple. It's not purple, red. This square here has to not be red, so it can be yellow, anything else. But now, how do we extend this region? We can't. It can't take this cell, and it can't take this cell. So this is not going to work, and if that's the case, we can rule out the possibility of the 13 being, being a 2-cell region. So it must take that cell, which means it must take this cell, because the 11 is going to be 2 cells, which means it doesn't take this cell. Now I want that to be green now. Does it have to be green, or is it still... Yeah, it's really, that's very clever. It does have to be green, because were it not to be green, let's try and make it a different colour. Well, how's it going to get out? It can't, because all of those are definitely green, and it can't be red, so it's definitely green. And of course, green we already know, well, now we know green is not red, because if green was red, we'd have all sorts of 2x2 going along. In fact, we know this square is now red, because if that's green, we've got a 2x2, so that's red. 35. Yes, okay. And now we can draw in this line segment, because if this line segment was not there, and we've extended red 1 more cell, the maths of the column would tell us that this grey cell had to equal a 10. which won't work. So that is a forced region boundary, which actually, look what that's going to do. So that means that's got to be red. Can't make a 2 by 2, so this has got to be grey, because that's the only way it's going to get out. So grey is going to come out through here. Red's got to come out more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got one more red to give, or to locate. We have got to, well, we can fill this in. That's a 2 now, because this only sees 2. Therefore, these squares, 8 can't be 4 cells, in fact, can it? So this must be a 1 and a 5. We can wall this off as a result. That's going to force our grey upwards. This is really, really lovely, actually. It's very, very beautiful. In fact, now also we can do some maths on the column. We know those two squares have to equal 10, so that's got to be a 2, 8 pair. These squares at the bottom now have got to be 1, 5, and 7. And they do add up to 13. This digit is therefore the sort of counterpart of this one. So this is either 8, 4, or 2. Unfortunately, I think all of those might be possible. Okay, what about this then? This is at least a 3, because it's already seeing 3 in its corridor. It could be a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. Oh, is it just one more? 5, 6, 8. Yes, it's a 3 or a 4. It can't be more than 4, because that would be implying there's more than 9 cells in the red region. So that is just 3 or 4. I'm desperately looking up and down to see whether or not that's actually resolved by Sudoku, but I don't think it is. Oh, this square can't be a 1. It sees 1 there. So that means our green region comes to at least here. That, ooh, okay, that's a problem. Is it? This square now can't be, I'm going to make it, maybe I'll make it black again. This square can't be green now, or it would create a 2 by 2, but it can't connect to red, because that would make red a 10 cell region. So this is some new region. Maybe it can be blue, actually, or even maybe it's got to be blue. This digit has got to be a relatively small number. It can't be, oh yeah, that's it. Right, what's this digit? It can't connect blue to green, because that would give the blue-green region far too many cells, and we're much more mean than that. So its maximum total is 4, and its minimum total is 4 because it's a 21 clue. So that's a 4, that's an 8, 9 pair, that's a 3, which is going to mean we can end that region. We can green in those two squares as a result of that deduction. We can label that square like that. We can do some Sudoku of all things. Outrageous, Vidorino, make me do Sudoku in a Sudoku puzzle. How? That's poor form, my friend, poor form. I think we get a 2, 6, 7 triple here. I don't know how to do that. We get, oh no, I say I don't know how to do that, but I was just thinking I must know an awful lot about this row, and I do actually. The only digit in green that's, well, the only digits in green that are not in this row are 3 and 8. So there must be a 6 in that row, so that must be a 3 and that must be a 6. That's become a 2 or a 7. We still need our 8, don't we, to add to the green region. Can we do better than that? Not sure. Do we know what this does? Again, not sure. And actually, I'm noticing as well, we're running out of clues. We're running out of clues a bit here. We've got to... how do we do this? That can't be a 4 anymore. So that can't be a 5. So this is now down to just 1 or 7. This square is a 3. That's on an arrow. So that's, we've got to make sure, I've got to make sure I fill these arrows in. So those two squares are adding up to 14. So they're either 5, 9 or 6, 8. We can get rid of 5 and 8 from this one. So we must put 5 or 8 in this one. And this being a 6 or a 9, does that mean... How does that affect these cells? 26 plus 10 is 36, so we need to make room for 9 to be outside of the blue region in this column. So if that was a 9, maybe I've got to pencil mark these squares. 1, 3, 6 and 9. Let me just think about this. So if this is a 9, this is a 1. That's very clear, and that would be a 3, 6 pair. In fact, the order of it would be known. If this is a 6, this could be a 3, 1 pair. So that could be 6, 3, 1, and then that would be a 9. And that might work. I can't see what's wrong with that. So that's... Oh, but hang on, I've got a 3 in blue already. Ah, yes, I understand. Right, I understand. How could this be 1, 3, 6? That's the question to ask. It can't be. Because if it's 1, 3, 6, there is a double 3 in the blue region. That's beautiful. So the only way of making this 10, given we've got a starting cell here which is so high, the only way this can work is actually with a 9. And that means we actually get to place the 1 here. We know that's the end of the region, that's a 6 and that's a 3. So this might be important for learning about the nature of this digit. Is this... no. Right, that's huge though. That's huge. Because that 3 in row 7, column 9 now, well, what can't happen is that purple is the same as red, because that would be an isolated cell which could not make a 2 by 2. So purple and red are different, which means purple comes out, which means blue comes out, I suppose. That's the most minor deduction ever. This could be a 7, could it? Maybe. And then it would turn up. This blue's come across. So green, how many more cells do we need in green? We need another 2 more. Do we know anything more than that? Oh, I tell you what I can do. I can do maths, can't I, on this row? I've got 9 there and 17 there. That's 26. So these squares have got to add up to 19 to make 45, which means with that being a 4, these 3 squares have got to add up to 15. Is there a way of doing that in some sort of elegant way? Oh, that square's now a 7, look. Because blue is definitely not the same colour as purple. I know that that's a slightly fatuous thing to say, but sometimes in Sudoku puzzles it can be true that blue and purple are the same. Oh, no, hang on, I know what that digit is. I've got 12 there, so that's got to be 5. So... got 1 here, so that's got to be 5. So I'm down to 1, 7 here. Oh, but that's... I see. So this 11 clue is now helping us, because that's got to be 7, that's got to be 4, that's got to be 1, that's got to be 8. Now these squares have got to be 2, 6 and 7. That's not 7. Don't know if we can do better than that, but now... What's that digit then? Because we've got 6 digits approximately labelled up. Yeah, that's a 3 by Sudoku. Sees a 1, 5 pair in the column. So I've still got to put a 1 and a 5 into the green region. How do I do that? What I can't do, look, this is interesting, this square's green. Yeah, what you can't do is put green here and green here, because then the black cell is isolated, and we mustn't isolate the black cell. So, that means either this completes by taking those 2 cells, or it completes by taking those 2 cells. Oh, hang on. that square can't be 1 or 5. So it definitely doesn't take that cell. So the only way of completing green is like that, which means that black is the same as blue. And we have been beaten black and blue by the puzzle. That square must be blue now, because it's got to come and connect to something. So that's now an 8-cell region. That must be the 9th. Oh, yeah, that's the 9th blue cell. I was about to worry about this, but we know that's not blue because of the 10 clue. So that's finished all of this off. Let's put all that in and see if that's useful. Purple. My green region's done. My red region needs another cell, so that's got to be that one. Let's fill the colour in. My purple region here has to come up, which is going to put a lot of pressure on the red region, which has now got to, well, it's now got to do that, and it's getting dangerously close to my other red region. My purple region, though, is going to play gooseberry and keep them apart. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that could be purple. Or red still. It's a 3. Right. So I'm going to ask a question. If that is purple, no, that's a silly question. It's a silly question, and it doesn't even deserve getting asked. I was about to say something inane again. Oh no, it's not. Okay, it was inane, what I was originally going to say, but I'm now going to turn it round in my favour by saying something very sensible, which is, how could this be purple? Which was the same thing I was going to say before, but I was going to look at a different row. Now I'm going to look at this row, which needs to have a 3 in it. Where are we going to put the... if this is purple, where are we putting the 3 in this row? Because we can't have a 3 here by Sudoku. We can't have a 3 here by Sudoku. We can't have a 3 here by Sudoku, and we can't have a 3 there because it's in the same region as that one. So if this can't be 3, we have a big problem. So in fact, that square must be red, I think, and that must be the 3 in that row. And therefore that must be red in order to get out. How many have we got in the red region? We've got 7. It's got to get 8 there. Oh, this is so clever. It's really lovely setting. Now this cell can't be reached by any region other than green. So that is green, and therefore we know it's the 8 we were missing from the green region. So that gets filled in. This cell next to it now must be red because it can't reach any other region. So we now got the red region done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we need one more. All right, okay, we need one more purple. Now, how are we going to stop this being a 2x2 region that's all grey? Well, the only way is if the purple interrupts. So that must be purple, and I think we have now filled in the regions. And that means, once we finish off the colouring, which we've now done as well, we should be able to fill in all the arrows, because that must be a 4. That's absolutely useless. That must be a 2. Have we got any other arrow cells which we have still got ambiguity about? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay, where does 2 go in this row by Sudoku? It's got to be in one of those 2 cells. In fact, what do we need to complete the red region? Look, we need a 2, a 6, and a 9. So the 6 goes here by Sudoku, and this is a 2-9 pair, which actually doesn't seem to be very useful at all. Oh, these were a 1-5 pair, weren't they, to complete my green region, which might be useful. Can we ask any sensible questions about this row, therefore? So we've approximately got 6 digits. We need 6s, 8s, and 9s. So that square has to be 6 or 8. And that square has to be 6 or 8 as well. No, see, so the question is, where does 9 go in this row? It has to go there. 9, 8 go into the grid. Where does 8 go in blue? It has to go there. That gives us a 6. That gives us a 6 and a 1 at the top. Those squares are now in terms of our blue region, they have to be 2, 4 and 6, I think. We've got all of the odd digits placed. So now this square must be a 9, just by Sudoku. That square's not 8 by Sudoku. This 8 here. Oh, it's not 6 actually either now, it's a 5. So now this becomes a 6. Ah, the 6 in 6 is really clever. So the 6 goes there. That's a 2, that's a 7. 6 comes out of these squares. So we've got a 7, 8 pair, and we know what those 3 digits are, which are 1, 4, and 5. He says desperately. I think it is 1, 4, and 5 in the purple. And therefore this square should be known. We haven't put a 7 in that row yet, so that's a 7. This column needs 1 and 4. So that's the 1, that's the 4. These squares are 1, 2, 8, and 9. So this is a 1, 2 pair, which might be resolved, and this is a 9, and this is an 8. This 1 is lovely, that's giving us the 1 and the 2. So this column just needs a 4, 5 pair here. This column, that becomes a 4, so that's a 5, that's a 1, that's a 1, that's a 5. Now what do we do? Have we got a 2, 6 pair at the bottom here that's not resolved? I think we do. That 4 can come out of this square. So the 4 in blue has to go there. I think I've got a 2, 6, 7, 8 quadruple in that column. So the question we can ask about this column is, where does 9 go? And I think it's only got one answer. So that becomes a 9. These squares have got to be 4s, 5s and 6s. So I can see 6 in green has to go here. 5 has to go here. 4 has to go here. That's probably resolved some way. What about grey? 3 and 9 to place into it. So the 3 and the 9 can go in, which means that's the 9, that's the 2, that's a 7. I also really appreciate it, Vidorino, that you haven't made the irregular part of this too monstrous. That would have been terrible for me in terms of solving it. I don't like solving irregular Sudokus on camera because it's so easy to miss countless really simple things. Now I was wondering about this. It looked a bit deadly-ish to me, but I've just noticed I've got a 7 here, and that's rather cool because that 7 is going to give me all of these digits. It finishes everything. That's great. That's great. So there we go. We've done it. We click tick. Looks good to me. So we have solved it correctly. And yeah, that's just a very, very beautiful puzzle, frankly. Nothing terribly difficult in it in terms of logic, but just lots of different sorts of logic. So we had to use secret logic. We had to use this corridor logic. We had to use a bit of irregular Sudoku geometry. And quite a lot, which I really liked, around the fact that you couldn't have 2 by 2 regions, and what that sort of did to, to force the way the regions had to move. So just a really quality puzzle all round. I hope you had a go, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll forgive me thinking that this square could be a 5. That was so bad. Oh my goodness me. That's a blooper reel moment. But yeah. Thanks for watching. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.